My name is Debra Magpie Earling, and I'm an associate professor at the University of Montana. And when my book Perma Red first came out, the main criticism of the book was that it lacked humor. And because I lack a sense of humor, I decided to teach a class in humor. And I tried to think of how I would do that, how I'd come up with an idea like that, how I would set that idea into motion. And it occurred to me that maybe I could teach an immersion course in humor, and it dawned on me that I could teach a class in stand-up comedy, though I know nothing about stand-up comedy. And so I put together an anti-syllabus, and I invited students, the graduate students, to kind of join me in learning about humor. And what happened in that class was amazing to me, remarkable. The students took the class and sort of made it their own, and wonderful things started to happen in the class. I would say about 3/4 of the way through the semester, there was suddenly a terrible bout of stage fright. Half the students, after I had rented the venue for the stand-up night, half the students said that they weren't going to do it. But there were 5 students out of that class who said, well, there was actually one student who said, you know, I make a fool of myself for at least 20 minutes a day, so what the heck? I can make a fool of myself for 5 minutes in front of an audience. They won't know me anyway. And something wonderful happened. They began to put together their routines. And I realized how brave they were. And that they had to walk this path alone.
Okay, sorry. You guys are really funny. Okay. But I guess I'm supposed to be funny, so fuck. How many of you out there are poor tonight? Got a friend named Sam. That poor bastard, man. He's so poor. I'm hoping he gets hard this Christmas so he has something to play with. But I feel bad because he never got any money for dinner, and his poor girlfriend's getting so skinny. She's so skinny, I went over to her house the other day, and I go in the bathroom, and I needed to, wipe afterward. And I'm like, Sharma, what are you doing? And there's just this giant roll of dental floss there. Thank you. What else is it? Oh yeah. So I've been plagued this week by vacuum cleaners. Like everywhere I go, I sit down. I start to eat. I'm trying to think. I'm studying in the library. It doesn't matter. There's some guy, some asshole comes by. This big, loud vacuum cleaner. And it got to the point today where I was wondering maybe I'm supposed to be learning something from these vacuum cleaners. There's some message in that noise. And, so I just thought of it today, but now I never thought of like a joke to go with that, so. So, if you want real comedy, what else? Oh yeah, a lot of times, because I'm a clown, I'm walking around the street, but I'm a scary clown. Right now I don't look that scary, because I'm scared, which we'll get into more later, but this is, I'll be walking around and someone will confuse me with a funny clown. and they'll invite me to work at a Christmas party. So I've gotten a lot of tips for you for Christmas parties. How to behave, how not to be, the obvious stuff about, like, if you're going to do a blowjob in a bathroom stall, you're going to want to bring a trash bag so one person can stand in it, all that sort of business. But, what was it? Oh yeah, when it comes, just avoid cameras, that's what the thing is. If you don't go in front of a camera, then you can never be called on any of this stuff. You say, no, I didn't say that, I didn't do that. But as soon as someone takes out a video camera and starts aiming at you, you only have two things you can do then. One, break down in hysterics. Just start crying. Don't worry about it. They'll just turn away because it's too shameful. And then the other thing is just freeze. And then they just go away too. So that's always good. But let's see. Why am I a scary clown? I'm a scary clown because when I was a kid, I had poor eyesight and I was real afraid of monsters all the time. And then, I just pretty much boiled it down to the thing I was the most afraid of were scary clowns. And so I sort of thought, well, one, there's that idea that, if you want to avoid being on a plane where there's a bomb, you bring a bomb. Because chances are there's not going to be two bombs in the same plane. But, so I applied that to this, if there's one scary clown in my bedroom, then probably there's not going to be another scary clown in my bedroom. And this works for me. But also, I think there's a code of honor among scary clowns, like that of thieves. One scary clown just respects that you're there, this is you, they don't scare you, and they won't jump out from train closets or anything weird like that. So that gives me comfort. But sometimes also if you're at a party, there's a lull in conversation. And you're going to want to fill that with some something you read or something interesting like that. And so I was talking to my brother the other day, or my cousin rather, Ronald. And he told me this story. And I thought it was funny. Let's see. Yeah. All right. A Texas woman was sentenced to 10 years in jail last week for running over the manager of a McDonald's with her car because she wanted mayonnaise on her cheeseburger. Waynette Nolan, 37, showed no emotion Thursday as the sentence was read in court following a trial in which the McDonald's manager, Sherry Jenkins, said she gave Nolan the mayonnaise she requested, but she flew into a rage anyway. And this is a quote. "I gave her everything she asked for. Mayonnaise, no mustard, onions, everything I could possibly do for the lady. Mayo, mayo, mayo. And it's still not good enough," Jenkins told reporters outside the courtroom. Nolan, who is convicted of aggravated assault for the April 23rd incident, became so angry when a McDonald's employee told her she could not get mayonnaise that she threw her cheeseburger into the drive-thru window, witnesses said. Jenkins tried to placate her by offering her a cheeseburger with mayonnaise, but Nolan continued to make demands until Jenkins finally called police. When she went outside to write down Nolan's license plate number, Nolan ran her over, breaking her pelvis. So you can use that if you want at holiday parties. I think I have something else. Did you hear that? They found Saddam Hussein this morning. Did you guys hear about that? Well, however you feel about, how good or bad that is. But basically, I have another cousin he's over there now, and he told me that there's a joke going around the barracks, and it's, what's the fastest way to break up a bingo game in Iraq?
What?
Call B-52. All right. So anyway, that's that joke. And all right. Oh well, okay. I'll just wrap up now. So anyway, like I was saying, I end up going to all these Christmas parties and stuff, and everyone thinks I'm a funny clown. And, they quickly find out to the contrary. And But oftentimes, what I would advise you don't do at the Christmas party is a lot of girls want to go home with a clown. And and the ladies, I always find I'll be I'll be in bed laying there sort of basking in it, and they ask me, they say, Alex. They say, Alex, why are you a scary clown? And I say, bitch, ask the cops when they pull the axe out of your face in the morning. Thank you.
Something I'm not, or they think that I'm not something that I am. So I'm just going to clarify things and tell you what I am. And I'm Catholic, and I'm gay, and I'm a non-combat veteran. And in my in my last year in the Army, I was under investigation for homosexuality. And I really thought that was kind of lame because I wasn't practicing at the time. And if you're going to get in trouble for something, it would be really nice if you were getting some. So I was having some problems with that, and things were reaching a head and a really ugly peak. And so I decided, you know what, I've reached my saturation point with stupid people, and I'm just going to go to confession, confess everything to the priest, and if I have to be celibate for the rest of my life and become a nun, that's fine. I'm good with that because I already had 2 years of celibacy under my belt, and I figured if I was going to be celibate for a higher cause, that would be better than being celibate because I couldn't get any. So I'm in uniform because I was restricted to post for 45 days, which actually was really more to do with an insubordination problem I had than actually being gay. And so I had to go to the post chapel. So I drive over to the post chapel because I could be in my car, but I couldn't leave post, and I had to be in uniform. And I get to the chapel, and I go into the confessional, which was right off the foyer to the right. So I go in, and there's this high, dome ceiling, and I get in there, and you have a choice where you can sit in a chair opposite the priest like you're on a talk show, or you can do the traditional thing and kneel behind a screen. So being the traditional lesbian Catholic that I am, I kneel behind the screen. And I start, bless me, Father, for I have sinned. And he goes, shh, people out there can hear you. So I'm like, well, bless me, Father, for I have sinned. It's been 8 years since my last confession. And I start going through the commandments, and I'm like, okay, so I've placed things above God. I've used the name of the Lord in vain. I haven't always gone to church. I've disobeyed my parents. I get to number 5, which is thou shalt not kill. And when I was in 4th grade, I had this nun who said that being mean to people is the same as killing them on the inside. So I said, I've hurt people's feelings. And then I get to number 6, which is thou shalt not commit adultery. And technically, if you have premarital sex, you're committing adultery against the person that you're going to be married to eventually. And so I figured that in the grand scheme of things, homosexuality would probably fall under category number 6. So I get up to the 6th commandment, and I'm like, I've had sex with women. And the priest says, how many? And I think to myself, my God, there's a quota. Maybe I didn't make it. Maybe I'm still good. So I think about it, I'm like, 4. And he says, did you love any of these women? And I think about it, and I'm like, 1. There was one that I kind of did. He goes, did any of these women love you? I'm like, no. They didn't love me. So then he said, did you force yourself on any of these women, or were you using them for sex, or were they using you, or was it mutual? And I was like, well, it was mutual. It was pretty mutual. And then he says, well, did you cause any women to have an abortion? And I'm like, well, I've had friends who had unwanted pregnancies, and they've talked to me about it, but ultimately it's their decision, so I don't feel like I've swayed them one way or the other. So I say no, and he says, well, have you had sex with men? And I said yes. And he said, well, are you still doing that? And I said, no, I'm not. And don't laugh. I then he says, well, how old are you? And I said, I'm 26. He said, well, I think you've reached a place in your life where you've had experiences, and now you should find a good woman and settle down. So I'm so shocked I forget all about coveting my neighbor's wife and all that other stuff. And I'm like, okay. And he starts blessing me, and I'm blessing myself. And I get 2 Hail Marys. That's it, 2 Hail Marys. And I kneel down. I'm saying my 2 Hail Marys, and I'm thinking, God, I'm forgiven. I'm free. I'm clean. This is good. And I go back to the barracks, and I meet my friend Boyd Berry, who's from Mississippi, and he's a Southern Baptist, because you can't have a name like Boyd Berry and be from the North. And so I'm telling him what happened. He's under investigation at this point. I really don't care anymore. So I'm telling him everything that goes on, and he's thinking about it. And he goes, he thought you were a man. And I was like, well, then does it count? Do I need to go somewhere else and get a second opinion? I mean, like, how does this work? And he thought about it a little bit more, and then he was like, well, it seems to me that if the priest is talking for God and the priest says it's okay, then you're okay. So I was like, well, I'm okay. And as far as I know, I'm the only lesbian on the planet who has a direct dispensation from the Almighty. So the second, then this leads to Saturday night. Last Saturday night when I was at the drag show at AmVets, the happiest bar in town. So I'm at AmVets at the drag show, and I'm there with my straight friends because I'm open-minded. And I'm with Stephanie, Linda, and Linda's boyfriend Cameron, and we've got this little table near the front, and the MC, Ophelia, was very nice. She was very funny, and so we're bantering back and forth and stuff like that. And then at one point she says, oh, you straight people think you're so funny. Well, I get really offended. And I stand up and I start yelling, like, all these vulgar things about acts I've committed with relish, the verb, not the noun, because sex and food is really nasty. You're on the risk of hepatitis A and B at the same time. And so she says, that I'm straight. So I'm yelling all of these things, and she says, oh, honey, sit down. That's what they all say when they have a few drinks in them. So now I'm really mad because I think that's kind of true, that is what people say when I have a few drinks in them. So I'm like sitting down, and my leg is going because I'm really pissed. My friend Stephanie, she's like, talk me down. She's like, okay, just go up and talk to her during the intermission. So I go up during the intermission, and I'm like, I'm a lesbian. And then Ophelia looks me up and down and stares at my shoes, and she goes, oh yeah, honey, you are a lesbian. I'm sorry, and I'm like, I'm not sorry. And then for further proof and evidence, I whip out my Grizz card where I had a buzz cut 3 years ago because I decided to dye my hair red, which was a really bad thing. If your hair's going gray, just let it. So then once she sees the stereotype, then she's just like, oh, honey, you are, and I'll give you a formal apology in front of the whole bar. So the next thing I know, there's a spotlight on me. And she's saying she's available, and her name is Anne Marie, and her honey blossoms, that some kind of thing is opening up. And so I'm like, all right, that's great. And then the ramp thing comes up, the drag show is over, and then everyone's dancing. And my friend Linda is an excellent dancer because she has no shame. So she's like throwing herself around and everything like that. And I don't know if, like, very stereotypically, this is the typical lesbian dance. Think like 7th grade, high school prom, kind of like this. And then when they really want to impress you, it's more like it kind of this thing going on. And so everyone's very happy that Linda's dancing so well. And so I'm up there because I'm drunk, so I can dance when I'm drunk. And so I'm there with Cameron, and Linda's doing her thing, and then these 2 lesbians come out of nowhere, and they bum rush Linda. There's one on one side, one on the other, and there's hips thrusting, and me and Cameron are like, and Cameron goes, those lesbians stole my girlfriend. I said, Cameron, your girlfriend stole my lesbian. And we're looking, and then the lesbians scatter into the darkness. And that's when I kind of realized something, that, I'm always being mistaken for something that I'm not, or something that I am, or whatever. And maybe if I had just yelled at Ophelia instead of just like putting it down into a vulgar act or something like that, if I had just yelled, hey, I've been ostracized too, I'm one of you, maybe that would have counted more. But so then I started thinking, maybe it's not about what you look like or what you do, but maybe it's about whether or not you've got that bond of just like, ostracism, but that's a little too deep for a comedy night, so I'm out of here.
We're going to figure out how to put my slideshow up. I'll tell you a couple jokes while this warms up. Okay, I wrote these myself. I'm kind of proud of them. They're food few jokes. A couple of you have heard them already. What did the mescaline greens say to the radicchio? What? Oh, no, wait. What did the mescaline greens say to the radicchio and the party ran out of booze? What? Let us leave. Okay. Let's get this going. All right, I got another one. Okay. I'll say that one while he started. What did the society matron say to the toast when it burped at the dinner table? What? Where were you bred? Okay. Hi. My name is Josie Arcegel, and I'm a fallen feminist. And I'm coming to terms with that, so I don't want anyone to get too worked up about it just yet. You might not approve of my colorful apron or my perky little smile. You may wish I'd take my June Cleaver attire elsewhere, but I gotta tell you, you can take those Women Are People Too bumper stickers and bake them into a nice tuna casserole. I have got you guys all floored under the table because I am from Berkeley, California, okay? Now, in Berkeley, California, we are so feminist that we are working on equal rights for men right now. In Berkeley, California, PC isn't a few terms with American on the end of it. PC is a language, all right? In Berkeley, California, we're all special. We're not different, we're just special. I'm special, you're special, we're all special. Feminism, though, feminism is not special. Feminism is a way of life, all right? So let's look at the word feminist. A feminist is a woman who maintains her independence. A feminist is a woman who works 9 to 5 and then comes home and picks the lice out of her children's teeth. A feminist is a woman who shows a man that she can do everything he can do and do it 10 times better. At least that's the definition according to my mom. Now, the Columbia Encyclopedia, that leaves a little more wiggle room in the definition. Feminism is the movement for the political, social, and educational equality of women with men. But I wasn't raised by the Columbia Encyclopedia. Last week, it wasn't the Columbia Encyclopedia that heard me say, "Mom, when I get married, I think I'm going to give up my last name." My last name. Let me say it again. Aronson Gelb. Try spelling that 2 times a day, every day for your entire life. Reservationist, video store guy, students, all right? Hyphenated names are a pain in the ass. They confuse prospective dates and old ladies alike. You know, it is a tough thing. I am not married. I swear I'm not married. I'm available. I'm free. In my hyphenated last name, the Aronson belongs to my dad, Mark Aronson. He could be a take-charge kind of guy. I know, he has a posture for it, but he's not, okay? He is a man with 1 wife, 2 daughters, and 2 female cats. Once, we did have a male cat in the family, Mikhail Gorbachev. Gorby used to watch basketball with my dad, but then we had him neutered, and then he died. So now it's just dad and a lot of... Now, it's just dad and a lot of pussy. Sorry. My dad's a great guy, though. He does the dishes, he does the shopping, he does the bills, we love him a lot, he's invaluable. Boyfriends, though, who meet him have a theory. And that is that men who agree to a hyphenated last name will end up with all the chores and daughters. I've been dumped a lot. Yeah. My mom, though, she represents the Gel part of my last name. All right? She fought long and hard for women's rights all through her youth, my youth, and the non-youth of many middle-aged men. This, though, is how cool my mom is. She was one of those urban legend women who was expected as part of her job to go and get coffee for all the men at work. So her first job out of law school, she was one woman in a law school of, no, there are 14 women in law school, 140. First job out of law school, boss asks her to get her coffee. She tells him what to think about that, right? And then she helps him with his drink. That's my mom. As a young professional, she did the whole reproduce, go to work, breastfeed in meetings thing. Tits in court, not a problem. I was one-hit baby, dining in Ninth Circuit chambers all over California. And don't get me wrong here. I do love my mother, and I am damn proud of her with her equal rights, civil rights, ACLU PAC career, but I do not want it. I was kind of thinking if I can, I eat if I marry rich. I would like to stay home with kids. I like the whole 1950s nesting thing. I even buy into that a way to a man's heart sort of bit. I could tone it down though. I have a great boyfriend now. He's wonderful. He understands the rules mostly, i.e. I am right all the time. But when he first met me and I was interested in dating him, he wasn't interested at all. Then it dawned on him. We went out. He comes back to my house every night. All right. But it's not what you think. It is not what you think. Okay. He had no interest in the bedroom. He wanted me for my refrigerator, and it's okay. I've come to terms with that. His pants have gone up a little bit since we met. But when his courtship finally began, he did not bring me a dozen roses, as would be the gentlemanly thing to do. He would buy me every week a dozen eggs. And then it was omelets, omelets, omelets. These are the things I don't tell my mother. Also things I don't tell my mother. The details of my stay-at-home mom fantasies. Not having a stay-at-home mom myself, I have a skewed sense of how these things work. All right? I imagine leisurely lunches with the kids. Okay? I imagine a built-in audience of culinary appreciators. And of course, after lunch, the kids will play in their room while I go and write the great American novel. So here's the problem with this fantasy. Thanks to my mom and equal rights, the men I meet want this life too. They've been raised in an era of equality, and they understand that men do not need to be the sole breadwinner. In fact, the current guy I am dating has suggested we arm wrestle for the right to stay at home. All right? Now, I'm sure I beat him, I have no doubts about that, but he sure as hell doesn't want to go to work. And I would feel guilty about that. See, I know what I want, and it's not just the bread. Bring home that bacon too, baby. Bring home some halves of it. See, if you've got bacon, you've got BLT. All right? With the crust cut off, of course, because as a stay-at-home mom, I would understand the needs of my children. So, Mom, I don't want a 9-to-5 job. And Mom, like I told you last week, I don't want my hyphenated last name either. Aronson Gelb isn't so bad as names go. You should have seen some of the doozies I went to high school with in Berkeley, California. Daniel Shipperman Schoen, Zachary Jarvis Bolshak, Layla Zaremba Dobashinsky, Rachel Greenberg, Al Miller Twig, Rena Kuhner-Haber, Stefan Doritos Shakaf, and my personal favorite, Izzy Blackman Biatch. Now think what would happen if Izzy and Layla met, fell in love, okay, and got married. Let's say they had a few kids. What do they do now? Richard Zaremba, Dobashinsky, Blockman, Biatch. Jeannie, Biatch, Dobashinsky, Zaremba, Blockman. It poses a problem. Little Janie might have some trouble at school with her nickname. So what is the lady with a pre-existing hyphen to do? I've seen some interesting solutions to the problem. We've got Jane Littman, we've got Harry Schitzer. They made Asher Litchitz. Then there were my parents' neighbors, Peter Krebs and Janet Falk. They went anagram. Rachel Sparkle. Berkeley, California, folks. Come on down, it's a great place. So maybe the trick for me is to find a man who's willing to take on the preponderance of my last name. Look at my dad. Even he wouldn't do that, right? So here I am, the daughter of my parents, the feminists. And I don't want to work in an office. And I want one family name. And I want to feed, and I want to nurture, and I want to... Now, I don't think that should make me a fallen feminist, but somehow, in this modern American culture, it does. But here's the thing. Feminism is not the idea. Feminism is the idea that women are equal with men. It is not the idea about bra burning or body hair. It is about freedom of choice. It's about evening out the scales, allowing women, and shoot, men too, to accept or decline opportunities. So, Mom, if I change my name, if I stay at home, that does not make me a fallen feminist. What it does make me is someone who can beat my husband at arm wrestling. Thank you very much.
What was I thinking? Do you guys like that noise? This seemed like such a good... This is the way the lights were supposed to look earlier, but I sabotaged everybody else's act. First of all, they weren't supposed to be funny. All they've been telling me is, look, it's not funny. Well, thanks. Really appreciate that. Okay. Well, honestly, I don't know what I was thinking. I'm just like, this is like, I'm petrified, okay? So anyway, you think? Yeah! Comedy! We're funny. So I was going to start my act by just coming out and doing this kind of deadpan thing and saying, like, sucking dick is where it's at. And then Steve says, you can't say that. I'm like, but why? I mean, it's kind of true. He's like, no, you can't do that. So I was like, okay, I won't say sucking dick's where it's at. Which I promised him, so I have. Actually, it's the way it's worked out, it's cool because I've had to say it more than I would have. That's fun. I had never said that in front of, like, I don't know, 800 people or something. But, that brings up another problem, we have in the queer community, because it is gay night tonight. You will realize at the end of the show that 50% of the population of Missoula, Montana is queer. Yeah, we have one more coming. Not to give anything away, Joe. Are you out yet? It's pretty out here. Joe's way out. And available, by the way. But anyway, it brings up the whole idea. Okay, what did you call... Steve and I have been together 11 years. What do I call Steve? Besides hey you or bitch, but... Private time. But what do I call Steve? I mean, I'm in my 30s. Do I call Steve my boyfriend? Like, it makes me feel like I'm like 14. Nuh-uh. Nuh-uh. Uh-huh. You know what? I think Steve likes me. He looked at me in jam. And then we signed the mortgage on the house. Work, I don't know. So then I could call him my longtime companion. It's very wordy. You gotta get kind of revved up to say it. My long-time companion. I think you have to look serious when you do say it. But that makes me feel like I'm talking about my golden retriever. Like, oh, there's my long-time companion. Come on, Steve. Careful, he licks. So let's see, what else? I could call him my husband. But, I don't know, my husband. That's my husband over there. So let's see. I could use a term that describes a gender polarizing, failed institution from an oppressive patriarchy. Good plan. Borrow, but borrow well. So let's see. Oh, partner. I like partner. Sounds very business-like, partner. We're in business together. I think you know what I mean. And then I could say spouse, because that's kind of a nice general term and all that. But spouse always makes me feel a little bit like June Cleaver, you know? Like the second June Cleaver reference, I know. You know. But it makes me feel like June Cleaver. I'm like, Steve, darling, is that you? Are you home? Oh, good, darling. There's a meatloaf in the oven, darling, and that's not a euphemism for butt fucking. I totally said butt fucking in the microphone. But you know, and the problem continues. It's like, I mean, what do we even in the queer community? What do we call ourselves now? I mean, you know, it's like, whew, it's hard. It's hard to figure out because everybody has their own little take on it and everything. You know, I mean, a while back it was easy because we were all just sodomites. No problem. Back in the days when everything was simple. So then the age of reason arrived, and you know, we were going to stop demonizing, and we're going to make it a disease. Then we were homosexuals, and invert. I like invert a lot. I'm inverted. That sucks. So then we came along and we're like, no, we're going to name ourselves and we're going to pick something happy, damn it. We're going to be gay. We're gay, yay! This is so much better than being a sodomite. Totally. We're gay, we're happy, yeah, it's all good. But then the women came up and they're like, you know what? We don't need your one term for everybody and all this stuff. So we're going to be lesbians. We like lesbian. So then we got the gay and the lesbian. And we're like, cool. We're all set. Everything's hooked up. We're ready to go. And then we had some problem child that's like, I kind of like it both ways. I kind of like the AC/DC. So we're like, okay, not a problem. Bisexual. Okay, got it covered. Gay, lesbian, bisexual. Everything's covered. Yeah, right. So then we have somebody that stands up and says, you know, I'm not any of those things. I was just quite simply born in the wrong body. So we have gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgendered. That's right. So then that got kind of wordy. So we decided, okay, well, we'll get an acronym. GLBT. Say it with me. It rolls off the tongue, okay? On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. GLBT! I know, but you're coming with us. We love you. But yeah, so we got GLBT, and we're thinking, okay, now we're good. Like, we are covered. We're so covered, there's like not a problem. And then somebody raised their hand and says, I've had surgery. I'm not transgendered anymore. I'm post-op. I'm a transsexual. So now we have gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, transsexual. Gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, transsexual. GLBTT. Absolutely no way. No way we're not covered now, right? Oh, but we're wrong. Because now we have people that are born with ambiguous genitalia. And they want to be called intersex. So now we have GLBTTI. Gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, transsexual, intersex. Jesus, it's getting hard. Okay, so now we know that we're completely covered, right? Right? Well, now we've got too many fucking things to call ourselves. We must simplify. Someone in Berkeley. We've got a good overarching term. This works. We'll take it back from the heterosexual community. We'll take it back from the oppression. We're all queer. It's a nice overarching term, simple, short. But we just added on the end. Gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, transsexual, intersex, queer community. The GLTBTTIQ. Okay. We're covered, right? Because we have this one term. It's totally covering everybody. It's so cool. It's great. It's going to work. And then you have somebody that says, well, I'm kind of thinking things over, and I've got my foot in the pool, and it's like, I'm thinking, you know. So they're questioning. I'm questioning. Sucking dick might be where it's at. Not sure. Get it over. So now we have gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, transsexual, intersexed, queer, questioning community. Because we are about inclusiveness. No one will be left behind. Except the breeders. You're not allowed. Okay. Honestly, absolutely no possible way. We're done. We're hooked up. There's no way anything else. There's absolutely. We're covered. Okay, I have one word for you. Pansexual. Pansexual. That's right. You name it and I like it. Bring it on. 2 legs, 4 legs, upside down. You got something from outer space, I'm there. Which brings us to the, oh my God, the gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, transsexual, intersexed, queer, questioning, pansexual community. Thank you. You've been very kind.
Okay. So yes, hard on the heels of Scott. Now that Scott outed me, I feel a lot more comfortable doing this act. Because no one knew before, I guess. But yeah,
everything that you breeders love came from gay men. It did. You've co-opted. You've stolen our Dali, our Tchaikovsky, our Andy Warhol. And you know what you've left us? Boy George. Yentl. Okay? We've given you Gucci and Sex in the City and this bastard breed of metrosexuals. And, okay, honestly, I am so tired of giving women advice on how to give good head. It's not happening anymore. I'm sorry. I'm sick of it. From now on, if you boys want someone to rock your little worlds, you come to the source. No more blowjob advice is coming out of my mouth. So I think it's time that gay men united to resist this imperialist co-opting. I think it's time that we started taking something back, right? The vagina monologues are old news. I'm talking about doing the man-gina monologues. Woo! Someone didn't like that. You're a feminist, aren't you? That's so cute. cute. I'm very positive on feminism. I think there's some really important things going on there. Queer theory is where it's at today, though. I mean, Scott just gave us an excellent example. There's some really exciting, fresh new things happening in queer theory. And I find it absolutely adorable how all of these straight people want to get in on queer theory. And by adorable, I mean... I have a friend who's actually in Berkeley studying for queer theory, a straight boy. And he called me the other day, and he was telling me about the unique intimacy of gay anal sex. And it is very intimate. You can't just ram it in like a blow-up doll and go. You're very sensitive to your partner. But I was a little put out that it was a straight man telling me about the joys of gay anal sex. Honey, I want you to go home and squat over a hand mirror and a flashlight, and then we'll talk, you know? Have you even seen your mangina? Have you touched it?
It's relative. How many gentlemen here have ever seen their own manginas? Come on, raise your hands high. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. It's a beautiful part of your body. Okay, not many. How many of you have ever seen someone else's mangina? Absolutely anyone. Guys, girls. How many of you have seen someone else's? Okay, mostly women. You know, and that's kind of tragic to me. I think women should discover their vaginas with women, and men should discover their vaginas with other men. That's the way it should work. Because I will be the first to admit that I'm absolutely incompetent when it comes to vaginas. I just haven't got a clue. What do you do? Push the green button, pull lever B. Help! What the fuck? Oh, for fuck's sake! I give up. You know, women with women, men with men. Because men, you do need another man to show you the mangina. It is not the same as the female anus. It's very different. Just on a psychological level, you have to deal with the ability to penetrate and be penetrated at the same time, and that's something another man understands. On a physiological level, though, as well, not only are there just bundles of nerves there, but once you get in the mangina, you can massage the prostate from the inside. And this is something that women don't understand, that it's called milking the prostate for a reason. It is. So yes. I think one of the big reasons that most men are not comfortable exploring the mangina is because we don't really have an adequate name for the mangina. The names that we do have are so derogatory. It's, boy pussy, man cunt, tootsie roll, poop shoot. It just sounds dirty. Personally, I prefer the name rosebud. Right? It's a delicate flower waiting to unfurl and be pollinated. And boys, when you're home tonight with your hand mirrors, relax the rosebud, caress it a little bit, and see the tiny petals open. Say it with me, rosebud. Say it, rosebud. Rosebud. Again. Rosebud. God, I'm getting hot. You can tell, you can point to the men who have explored their rosebuds. You can, honestly, they're so relaxed, just very cool and groovy. James Dean, right? James Dean knew his rosebud. There's a reason he was so fucking cool, and it was not the matchstick hanging out the corner of his mouth. No. President Bush, you look at, he does not know his mangina. Even as an exit, because all of the excrement comes out this end. David Bowie knows his mangina. Billy Ray Cyrus, not so much. There's an elegance that comes with the rosebud that Billy Ray has never had. So yeah, I think another reason, kind of going off what Scott said earlier, another reason men are not comfortable exploring the mangina is because it has been tied to this word sodomy.
And it has overtones of fire raining down from above on men who, know the joys of the rosebud. It does. Cover, flaming bomb. Anyway, I'm all about taking back the term sodomy because it's a very powerful term. Even in BC, way back, long before the BC 80 changeover, they recognized the mangina was a very powerful thing. That manginas could rule the world. Cities would rise and fall in the name of the mangina. But they had to put strong social taboos around it. Otherwise, men would do nothing. They would abandon the women and sit around drinking dry martinis, whispering rosebud. And the women would be left to write monologues about their vaginas. You can't do that, obviously. So, social taboo, sodomy. This is all true. I guess what I'm arguing for is an equality of vaginas. The vagina, the mangina, the hermaphrodina, I don't know, whatever's out there. Because I've seen so many gay boys fresh out of the closet who absolutely refuse to explore the rosebuds because that's where the poop comes from. And it's so weird to me because you don't hear straight men or lesbians running around saying that they will do everything except touch the vagina because blood and piss come from there. You don't get that. And you know why? Well, because soap is a wonderful invention. We know this. Everything down there cleans up rather nicely. So yeah, right. I'd like to end tonight with one final act of co-opting from the Vagina Monologues. How many of you have seen Vagina Monologues? Okay. Actually, the Campus Women's Center is putting on a production of the Vagina Monologues on February 14th, I believe. So check for that. And a couple of our lovely performers tonight are going to be in that as well. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. It's spectacular. Vagina Monologues rock. For the Vagina Monologues, when they were putting it together, a bunch of women were asked questions like, if your vagina could get dressed, what would it wear? If it could talk, what would it say? What's special about your vagina? Or what does it smell like? And so, gentlemen, I challenge you to really think about, if your mangina could get dressed up and go out for the night, what would it wear? If it could talk to you, what would it say? And what is special about your mangina? And what does your mangina smell like? Because, I don't know, my mangina smells like strawberries and rose water. My mangina is special because it is a cozy little den where I invite people to curl up and spend the night. If my mangina could talk, it would say, what's the secret password? And if my mangina were to get up and get dressed and walk out for the night, it'd be wearing stiletto boots and pleather.